SummerSlam Predictions 2020. Y'all already know what it is. It's just Backstage Brawl. We did it for the NXT TakeOver 33-0 that is going to be taking place on Saturday. On Sunday, I already know what it is. A show that is headlined by one Drew McIntyre going toe-to-toe with arguably the hottest superstar right now going, Randy Orton. So, guys, want to start it off with the pre-show, and this is like not scheduled currently, but is more so like alleged to happen. We have Matt Riddle versus one King Corbin, a feud that has been boiling on for weeks on end that may possibly culminate in this coming Sunday. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Let's start off with Kid Ty.
Riddle.
Straight facts. Just straight Riddle. I respect that. I respect it. He like, I ain't even give a damn about this thing. It's simple. It's simple. Straight to the point.
I mean, it's been built on TV, but it's not one of those like make or break matches. And if it's not positioned as such, it's going to continue. The meat of this program will continue on TV. So I think it'll be a bump in the road, but I think it'll be Riddle getting the victory.
Yeah. And not for nothing. It's like, although we don't necessarily rock with the whole rite of passage, the feuds. Once you get out of NXT, you have to feud either Corbin or Ziggler. It might just be that sort of deal with that they're trying to convey with this whole storyline, just extending it just so that it culminates at a pay-per-view such as SummerSlam. So, perfect point that you just made. Diamond Cutter, what you say?
Very controversial here, but I'm going with somebody who I don't like. King Corbin. This is awesome. Hey, it's not a make or break feud. It's there.
Poor guy, man. Poor. Well, yeah, poor guy. People's Champ, what you got, man?
I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know why this match should be happening, but I do feel that.
Why are they even wrestlers? What's?
No.
Why are they even a thing?
No. I mean, to be fair to Corbin,
what is a riddle?
To be fair to Corbin, I think they do this for him as like a rite of passage. Like, oh, you coming to the main roster. He's kind of like the new, the first person you check before you
Ziggler.
To the ladder. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Dolph. But yeah, I gotta go with the Brawl with this one. I gotta go with Matt Riddle. So.
All right. We got 2-1 in Matt Riddle's favor.
I knew you were gonna pick Riddle because you're wearing green.
And Ty don't like Matt Riddle for shit. So for him saying that,
what? Come on now.
Hey man, he's trying to be objective here, all right? He's not like some people. Shout out to Mean Gene. Now, Matt Riddle, excuse me. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville, hair versus hair match. Now, a lot of things can happen in this match. People's Champ, I want to start with you because I know I got a little something with Kid Ty. So let me see what you thinking.
First of all, let me preface by saying this. I do hope going into the match that both Sonya Deville and Mandy are both okay mentally and emotionally going into the match, considering what recently happened to them.
Of course.
I know we didn't touch on it during the episode 17, but I do hope they go into the match with the right mind to give the fans a good show despite everything that's going on. With that aside, I believe that it could go either way. Because in Mandy's case, if you cut her hair, she's gonna look hot regardless. But at the same time, in terms of character and in-ring performance, this will be a testament to see how much Mandy's grown and to her character and her current on-screen relationship with Otis. This will be great for story progression. I do see her winning against Sonya, and I do think when Sonya does get her hair cut or hair shaved off, whatever that may be, this will be something that would help Sonya as well. This is a match that can help both stars in either way, whether they win or lose. So in my case, I will choose Mandy for that because she does have something ongoing, and the way her story is projected is going and trending up. I do see her winning in that feud, and at the same time boosting Sonya's character moving forward.
We're gonna have a tally like next prediction show for like it can go either way. I think that's been said. at least 8, 9
You don't want to
times.
hurt nobody.
Nah, you're right. But it's prediction. We predicted. We ain't hurting nobody. It's the backstage brawl.
I look at the sky and it look like it could snow or rain. All I know, shit gonna fall from the sky.
Exactly. So just let it be known. Just let it be known. Ollie Williams, say what it is. Diamond Cutter. Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville.
I'm going Mandy Rose because Vince loves his blondes. I mean, this is what's gonna happen.
You know what? You know what, man?
I hate to put it that way, but Vince loves his blondes, and Mandy Rose is gonna be pushed as a singles competitor eventually. So there it is. I'm sorry, Sonya.
Damn. See, that's the type of Ollie Williams stuff I like. This is the analysis.
Here it is.
It's right there. It's right there. I don't even need to put on no side commentary for me. Kid Ty, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, man.
All right, so we're gonna be predicting a lot here. This is gonna be part one of a prediction that I feel will help fix things for the future. I'm gonna just leave it at that for right now. I'll get to that later. But recently, I was listening to the Salamonster podcast, and he gave his prediction for SummerSlam. And I was I was kind of like Randy and Eric. I didn't really know where to go with this because it seems like such a predictable match on the show that's considered, you'll never see it coming. SummerSlam tagline, all that. To make a long story short, I think this will be Sonya Deville's night. And the reason why is because I think there's a great opportunity to capitalize on making a completely new star out of Sonya Deville. She's already become a star, but I think this is a chance to put her into a new level. She's owned her character. She has been the star of this entire feud outside of Otis, which is saying something. And in a hair versus hair match, assuming that there are no clippers being involved in the actual match itself, similar to Kurt and Edge, win the match, you get to do what you want afterwards. I think Sonya Deville will outclass Mandy Rose, an emotionally torn in kayfabe Mandy Rose, and I think she will win. And I think that similar to what Salamonster said, I very much agree with his opinion, even though he figured it would be an outlandish prediction. I think that Sonya Deville will just be about to clip Mandy Rose's hair, and Otis will beg Sonya Deville to stop and offer up his briefcase as compensation for Mandy's hair. The reason why I say that is similar to Salamonster. I feel that Otis would be gullible enough to give away his one chance at glory to save his goyle, in the words of one Big Cass, and keep Mandy Rose looking the way she is. Mandy's obviously going to reject the advance and want Otis to keep the briefcase, but Otis will submit the briefcase to Sonya Deville, who will be the first woman to have a male Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, most of these Money in the Bank briefcases that women have been cashed in on the same night, with the exception of one, the most notorious female Money in the Bank user, Carmella. And I think that Sonya Deville will take the briefcase and add something to her legacy, which we'll get to later. But I think it's going to be Sonya Deville. And I agree with Salamonster, and I think it was an awesome prediction. And I wish I'd come up with it myself, but I felt like expanding upon it to give an idea to the fans. There's a lot of potential behind this.
Damn, that's creative. Like shit.
You got me doing the old man stroke of the beard, like.
What? Like, yeah. I mean, I ain't got no beard, but shit, like that was some creative shit.
Yeah, I
actually like that.
Yeah, when I heard the base idea, I was like, I gotta expand this because there's way too much good coming out of this. But that's what Salamonster brought up. I thought it was genius. I had to bring it here because y'all need to hear this. Hey, all you people, you had to hear this. You know what I'm saying? So, but it will come into play later. You'll see.
God,
we gonna hold. That's why I said I needed my boy Kid Ty to go last because I knew he was coming with some heat. Had a struggle. I had a precursor to what was going on, and I was still intrigued. I was like, Bobby, I intrigued. You know what I'm saying? Just,
like
Like
Calvin
on some
Candy
man
and
leaving.
Diego. You had my curiosity. Now you got my attention.
Exactly. So moving it on from the women's division to the United States Championship division. That is Apollo Crews versus MVP, the rivalry that has been ensuing on for months. Potentially culminating tonight. Who may know? Kid Dynamite, what say you? Crews, MVP.
I think most people's foregone conclusion is Apollo Crews because he just became the undisputed United States champion, even if they won't say it exactly like that on TV. Apollo 2 belts has become 1 belt, and he's rocking with with Old Glory around his waist. Now, Apollo Crews, he didn't get the chance to beat MVP on the last pay-per-view. He did get a win, but he needs to keep looking strong. Apollo Crews is one of the shining highlights of Raw, seeing his development, especially if you've been riding with him from the jump, seeing all the trials and tribulations he's gone through since even the days of NXT, right? So I don't think it's fair to take Apollo's momentum away from him, especially when there's no immediate plan. Like I said before, I listened to Solomon's predictions, and I thought he brought up the point that it really should be Apollo Crews working to a program with Lashley, which they've already teased a couple times as is. MVP doesn't have to do the dirty work to get what he wants. He's a master manipulator. He's moving chess pieces. He's moving the puzzle pieces the way he wants to paint his own picture. He doesn't have to win tonight. For all we know, I'm going to go bold on this prediction. I think that MVP versus Apollo Crews may be a setup. I think that it will be a setup and it will be switched in as Lashley. If Apollo were to lose tonight, MVP would sacrifice his spot for Lashley and Lashley would win. But I think it's going to be Apollo. But I'm not ruling out the possibility that this is a setup for either Apollo and Lashley down the road or Apollo and Lashley tonight. So that's why I feel.
And I think although bold prediction, it is a one that's mindful because the last pay-per-view that they were involved in, if we're not mistaken, and Apollo Crews didn't show up. So MVP could use that narrative of, hey, you switched out of the pay-per-view? I could switch out of the pay-per-view. And plus, I believe Bobby Lashley did just pin him 1, 2, 3 Monday Night Raw. It happened. So there's a lot of story to work with that. So definitely a route that they can go towards. Diamond Cutter, what you say, man? Let's debunk this.
I'm going to go Apollo Crews on this one. I know he fought Shelton Benjamin on the Go Home show of Raw. And when he fought Shelton Benjamin, the stipulation was that if Apollo had won, the Hurt Business can't be at ringside. So basically, it's a one-on-one match. I just feel like Apollo needs to move on from MVP and everything. I just don't want him to. I don't want him to have that constellation of Kevin Owens coming into the fold, even though more than likely that's probably what's going to happen. Creative is going to put Kevin Owens against Apollo Crews for the U.S. title, or they're going to put somebody that used to be a U.S. champion against Apollo that we really don't want to see because both guys could be doing something better. They're clearly more talented. But besides the point, I'm going to go Apollo, and also for MVP, it also gives him more of a right to go to Raw Underground and kind of start running things there. So definitely Apollo.
All righty. People's Champ, the tag team partner of DC. What you say?
I love Apollo Crews' ascension over the last month, especially. Right. I think he's been with us since 2016. To see his progression over the last 4 years has been great, and the fact that he's finally embraced who he is on the mic, ring work, outstanding, but the fact that he's himself, finally, and a champion at that, tells you that it was only a matter of time. And now he's going against MVP, a very well savvy veteran. And I've been screaming MVP's name and praising his name since he's come back, because he's been playing, like I said, he's been playing with chess, not checkers, when it comes to getting what he wants. I do see Apollo winning in this match because to further that divide, to further that story. Because even if he does win, that story is going to continue in some way. Because at the end of the day, MVP will get what he wants, and that is that title that he paid for. He's gonna end up doing it one way or another. And like, as for mentioned before, Bobby Lashley could be just the substitute and coming in and bring that title back to the Hurt Business and continuing, to endorse that brand, because business is booming.
Business is definitely booming. Kicking it to high gear, going from one Raw championship to the next. We have the Raw Tag Team Championships. Angel Garza and Andrade, alongside with Zelina Vega, versus the Street Profits for this Raw Tag Team Championship title. Again, we're snaking it, so it did end with People's Champ. It starts with People's Champ. Where we at here?
We want the smoke. 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 Gotta have the smoke.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, last couple of weeks is like, hey, let me take off the glasses now, because it means I'm serious. I'm gonna take off the glasses.
This has been a very hot and tested feud, and we've been asking for something to bolster the tag team division. And although they may be the two top teams in that division, you needed something to sell it. And shout out to Zelina Vega, and her conglomerate of Angel Garza and my guy Andrade. I do believe that it's going to be one of the best matches of the night, especially for the tag team titles. The Street Profits, they've only just continuing to break that ceiling. Like, they see it, they want to kick through that mug.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Word to Mad TV. You take it to a hoe. Nah. Never. All the time.
Shout out to Eugene Struthers, a.k.a. Keegan Michael Key. But sticking with this pick, gotta go with the Profits, man. They're very serious, and the fact that this incorporates Bianca Belair into this feud, and not only that, it finally introduces Zelina Vega as more than just a valet, as we've seen this past week or past 2 weeks or so, as an in-ring competitor, because we know she can go. So this also benefits the ladies of this feud as well.
Yeah, most definitely. What say you, Diamond Cutter?
Yo, fam. I gotta go with Street Profits.
Gotta go with some.
Hey, yo, he started off with the Yo fam. I already knew where you picked because he's on some Angelo Dawkins. Yo fam, that's it. That's it, man. I'm with it. I'm with it. Is there a sweep or is there some hope for the team Garza and Andrade? What say you, Kid Ty?
No. I'm going to say no in the most respectful way possible now, because that was for comedy. But we've said it for a while. This was a very makeshift group that was put together by very weird and unnecessary circumstances, mainly dating back to when Andrade got suspended. They've made it work for as long as they can. And people are forgetting Andrade's potential. He's still one of the best overall competitors in the company in terms of all areas. Mike skill is the thing that people give more credit to for an Angel Garza, and we know he'll be a star. But don't forget who this guy, as much as the company sucks at booking Andrade, because he has been taking a lot of L's and whatnot. Man, a couple of years ago was led to be one of the futures of the company for a reason. And I think that this match would be the kick in the ass that the Street Profits need to remind people how good they are in the ring. Because they've been doing a lot more character-centered stuff. I think the Street Profits need people to be reminded. They have a chip on their shoulder. The fans are not expecting much out of this match. Some people are questioning the storyline itself, but the match itself will remind you all around the potential of all the talents. And I think that Andrade and Angel Garza will start to dissent themselves going forward because they are that good on their own. They don't need to be together anymore. Austin Theory's not there anymore. And I think it'll be interesting to see who Zelina Vega chooses as she wants to continue on with which client she wants. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, most def. Big E, I'm gonna need you to put it on. I'm gonna need you to put it on.
Where's your faith?
We've entered that part of the prediction show where we discuss Dominic Mysterio versus the Monday
It's just
Night
hands.
Messiah himself,
It's just
Seth
hands.
Rollins. Kid Ty. It is just hands.
All
Got
you
the
need.
power in his hands, but it is your pick right now. Who you picking? Dominic Mysterio, his debut match in a street fight versus one Seth Rollins.
I mean, this is it's a perfect tagline for this event because there's so many different avenues you potentially can go with a lot of these matches, right? Dominic Mysterio tonight could get beaten so badly Ray comes out and begs for mercy. And he forfeits the match on Dominic's behalf. Got the potential for Ray to come out. Dominic getting beat. He took the beating on purpose to turn on his dad and join Seth Rollins. You have the potential for Dominic to pull an upset victory and possibly beat Seth, although I think that has the lowest chance of happening. But I think that Seth's going to win. If he doesn't win the match, he's going to win the moment because Seth Rollins, one, needs the victory. Two, Dominic does not need this big of a victory on his first match. He's still paying his dues, and he's doing it in a high-profile way. What's more interesting to me is the fallout. Does Dominic join Seth Rollins? Does he become tempted? Does he stand firm with his dad? Does this lead to a tag match down the line at the next pay-per-view with Murphy being involved, But similar to how, we were saying before, the COVID thing hit Apollo, and we said there's so many possibilities for that match. This match has so many different branches it can go to. But I think Seth winning is crucial for a lot of those possibilities to happen. So I'm going to pick Seth.
All righty. One of the biggest advocates for Seth Rollins around, my boy Big E, Diamond Cutter. What say you, brother?
Just stay like that for the whole prediction.
For the whole prediction, I'm going to stay like this. Tyler touched on it a little bit. Seth definitely needs the win. He got the win at the horror show. Why not give it to another Mysterio? Got to give it to him. The next big thing for me also, I made bullet points about this. Dominic needs to develop his own identity during this match. He needs to step out of, I know they're taglining him as Dominic Mysterio. That's cool. I don't have no problems with that. But he needs to have his own identity as, okay, I'm Rey Mysterio's son, but this is what separates me from my dad. So I feel like he needs to find his own identity. Is there room for error during this match? Even though it's a gimmick match, is there room for error? That's the next question. I don't think there's too much room for error. I think it's a trial and error thing. It's his first match. Will there be a traditional match? A traditional one-on-one between the two at Backlash? Backlash is going to be a week right after SummerSlam. So
Payback.
Is there going to be Payback. Sorry. Payback. Is there going to be a one-on-one traditional match between the two? Or is Buddy Murphy going to be inserted into it? And then also to Tyler's point, will the longevity of this feud, because this is a three-way feud. It's a three-way feud between Seth, Ray, and Dominic. Will this be a long-term feud, and the longevity, will it eventually pay off with being Dominic joining the Monday Night Messiah? Will he embrace the greater good? Will he come and see the light that is the Messiah?
I can't see you.
So I am going with Seth Rollins.
Embrace the light or be swallowed by it. You have to pick one.
You have to embrace the light.
Your hands. Embrace your hands.
Like he told Drew McIntyre, I let you become the locker room leader, but don't forget who the Monday Night Messiah is. I am Monday Night Raw. He built this house.
Out of his face. Gone.
People's Champ, what say you, man? Are you on Seth Rollins? Are you on the bandwagon, or you thinking Dominic Mysterio? What you saying, man?
To quote another third generation superstar, finally a third generation superstar will debut on a Big Four pay-per-view. It's the first time it's happened since 1996. Shout out to 96. This will be a big moment for the third generation superstar. And I read something earlier today that, him going forward as a superstar, he'll be referred to as Prince Mysterio when he crosses over to that medium. As it pertains to this match, I agree with my god brother, and of course I agree with my tag team partner that the fact that Seth Rollins doesn't deserve to win. He hasn't won since it's been a while. And for the Monday Night Messiah, he does need this win. It's been a great story. It's been a long-term story that's been told beautifully. Ray has always alluded the fact that he does want to retire and have his son in the ring with him. Now, he never said that he had to be in the ring tag teaming with him to retire him or be part of his retirement. So this may very well lead to Dominic in a very classic double turn and basically making Dominic part of the Messiah, but part of the disciples, as you will, and Rey Mysterio basically now trying to fight for himself, fight for, his pride, so to speak, as he intends to retire very, very soon, and Dominic probably would be the person to do it if you want to go that route. Seth Rollins does need the win badly, and he took the eye. So my guy Seth, he needs to win, man. He needs to win, and I predict that Messiah takes the victory this Sunday.
He needs the win, and also Dominic needs to look legit in his debut.
Oh, Seth, if there's one thing that Seth Rollins has done great, has always been great at, is making his opponents look great. Like, his work this year has been nothing short of fantastic. So
if we talked about top 5 guys who can make somebody look good in the ring, I would put Seth Rollins at that list.
He's there. He's there.
I would the top 5 in regards to like just basically just workers. I gotta see the whole field. I'm a hold it out. I'm gonna hold it out on Seth because it's just this year. It's just this year. It's like
fair.
I can't give it to him just based off of the past year. But I'm loving it. That being said, the Messiah is definitely taking it.
We will also all embrace the word of the Messiah this week.
Oh yes, most def. We have 3 more to go, and well, technically 4, and I do want to tie one with another. That is the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship matches. On one side of the spectrum, you have Bayley versus Asuka. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Sasha versus Asuka. Both of those scenarios, I ended it with you, People's Champ. You have to start it off. Both scenarios, Raw Women's Championship, Sasha, Asuka. SmackDown, Bayley, Asuka. What happens there?
Asuka takes both. She's due for it.
We're doing it. We're doing Asuka 2 belts. Okay.
Asuka takes both. She's due for it. And I do believe in one of those matches, probably against Sasha, she'll bring out the aspect of not Asuka, but Kana, in terms of smash mouth, whipping your ass to get your championship back. Because remember, when Bayley was the sole reason beating out, Kairi Sane in the back, which is why she lost to the Royal Women's title in the first place, Asuka was very distraught, very angry. And she wasn't angry as if, she's going to say her expletives in Japanese in very outlandish, wacky way. No, she was legit pissed. So it could go either one or 2 ways when you're trying to get revenge. And leading up to it, Asuka has been very, very serious going into when it comes to Sasha. Bayley is that's just child's play for her. But Sasha, you took my title and you took my friend along with it. I'm going to make you pay. And if I'm going to make you pay by taking your friend's title, I'm going to make you pay in the way that you haven't seen since even before I got to the WWE. I'm the Empress of the Tomorrow for a reason. And at the same time, I'm going to show you why I am the true queen of the ring.
All right.
You go, girl.
Diamond Cutter, man. What do you say, you, man?
Oh, man. Okay, so since we're all going to have a little bit of time to talk about this, since, Asuka's in 2 matches. I question the booking on Asuka, and here's why I question it. I question it because I don't feel Asuka needs 2 title matches. That's just me. I don't feel like she needs 2 title matches. She's owed 1 title match, and that is the Raw Women's Championship. That's the one that she's owed. I get it. There's more story with that. Rather, there's more story than her and Bayley. Bayley's involvement is only she took out Kairi Sane. I get it, but that could have been a match you could have had on Raw. You didn't really need that match, and it didn't need to be a title match. There's no grudge there. There's hardly no grudge there. The next thing that nobody's really talking about, what's Stephanie McMahon's involvement in everything? Because Stephanie was the one that really kind of planted the seeds for this, if you will, because she kind of called out Bayley and Sasha, and she said, your time is going to come. So what is Stephanie McMahon's involvement in this? Is she returning to the ring? She hasn't had a match since Brie Bella. So, and we're not going to talk about that. But, it's, what's her involvement in all this? That's the next thing. I feel like Nikki Cross should have got one more chance. I feel like Nikki Cross should have got another chance at the SmackDown title. I don't see anyone else right now on the SmackDown roster who has had the best development that Nikki Cross has had. Alexa, you could always put Alexa in that involvement, and Alexa will shine. But this is somebody who's out of left field, who a lot of people weren't really behind, but they've got behind because of her recent, title matches she's had. And this is going to be a long-term payoff eventually for the Bayley and Banks feud and a possible WrestleMania match if they don't go with the 4 horsewomen thing. But this is going to be a possible match between Sasha and Bayley. Now, as far as the winner goes, Asuka is going to regain the Raw Women's Championship. I think I'm going to go that route. And this is going to start the whole Bayley and Sasha thing, because now you're going to see cracks within the golden role models to say, well, I defended my title successfully. Look what you did. And then not only that, remember, a week later, they're going to have to defend their women's championship, tag team championships. So this also furthers the story between Bayley and Sasha. So I know that we've been talking about it on the show, like, oh, this is the moment we're finally going to see the cracks. This has to be the moment we see it. If it doesn't happen here, the long-term payoff will honestly be for nothing. It has to happen here. So Asuka winning the Raw Women's title, but, getting beat by Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title.
That and honestly, no lie was told with that. No lie was told with that. But with that being said, Kid Ty, the floor is yours with the double match: Raw Women's title, SmackDown Women's title. What you say, man?
So we're gonna go back to where I was earlier, setting a foundation for the future. Now, again, I'm going to take a reference from Jason Salamanch's podcast where he did his SummerSlam predictions, because this is part 2 to the story that I'm telling, because his predictions were amazing to the point where me going into it, originally I went into it like Asuka's going to walk out with some gold. Now, here's the thing. Like Eric, I'm tired of the 2-belt narrative. I think they've done it a little too much in a short span of time. It wasn't that long ago that it was Becky 2 belts. Then it's Bayley 2 belts. Then it's Charlotte sniffing all the belts. And then it's the 2-woman power trip, the golden role models, which is GRM, sounds like a drug when you acronym it like that. There's a lot, and they are addictive. But there's a lot that I feel we've seen too many people holding titles that either they shouldn't have held in the first place or holding too much gold at one time. You need a break. The narrative's been done enough. People get the idea. You can have women hold multiple belts at the same time. I think it's cool, but it's an idea that's cool when you do it rarely to make it feel more important. So, Eric, I'm with you on that one. And on this episode of how WWE should have booked, I feel that Jason Salamanch's prediction was a good one. and this is the point I'll bring to you guys from his podcast. Asuka should win both women's championship matches. Now, you're going to ask me why after I said we shouldn't have 2 belts. Here's the reason why. Shayna Baszler. Now, Sasha is going to – I would like Asuka to have a triumphant victory over Sasha earlier in the show. Give her some time to recuperate so she can get ready for Bayley, right? In the match with Bayley, this is where things get significant. Similar to Solid Monster, I agree with him on the fact that there's the dissension, and with you, Eric, the dissension should happen on that night, and it should happen with Sasha getting revenge on Asuka, so distraught over losing the championship that she clearly stole. She comes in and tries to help Bayley and solidify a 100% guaranteed victory over Asuka. Bayley's on the verge of going a year with this championship. She wants to go a year. That's going to be a main focal point for the story later on because no woman's really been able to do that outside of Becky, right? Sasha wants to make sure that Bayley wins, not only because it's her best friend, but because she wants revenge. She's going to screw it up. She's going to screw Bayley out of the match by accident getting involved. Asuka's going to get 2 belts. Those two are going to have a dissension right there. They're going to be upset because Bayley was robbed out of her opportunity to be the superior horsewoman by statistics alone. And unfortunately, those two will be arguing on the outside. Now, I bring up Shayna Baszler earlier because Shayna Baszler made it very clear she wants the women's championship. She has a lot of reasons to be upset not being on TV, wanting the title from Becky Lynch. Shayna Baszler said to Asuka, I'm going after you. I want you to win because I'm going after you for this championship after you win at SummerSlam because I want you to win. I want it to be you. 2 most dominant NXT Women's Champions. We could bring that up to the cows come home. But what Shayna Baszler does in this instance, choke out Asuka after the match, leave her laying, leaves an emphatic statement, I want your title. And then with my earlier prediction, Sonya Deville comes out with her newly acquired Money in the Bank briefcase and cashes it in on an unconscious 2 belts Asuka, takes the championship from her, and solidifies herself as what she has been on SmackDown in the background of Bayley and Sasha, the best character in the women's division for SmackDown. This is what I mean by the prediction from Salmonster being so good and what it lays down a foundation for the future. If Shayna Baszler lays out Asuka, Asuka will lose the championship to Sonya Deville. There are no rematch clauses anymore unless they want to, so they can just move on from that. Because all Asuka wanted was the Raw Women's Championship in the first place, and she's got this headhunter going after her. So she's going to be focused on Shayna. So that's a great avenue to let Sonya just keep this belt and do what she wants, right? Sonya can brag about beating Asuka, use her newly acquired briefcase, which is history in itself, right? And Sonya Deville, again, best character in the background. She's owned her character. She's owned everything that she's done to the point where it warrants her to extend to the next level. The feud with Mandy Rose would be over at that point. She got what she wanted. She humiliated Mandy Rose. She took one of the most precious things away from Otis Josevich. And now she's ready to move on to bigger and better things. And what bigger and better thing to do than win the SmackDown Women's Championship? I highly agree with Solid Monster. You created a new heel, a credible character on SmackDown who's been built up genuinely over the course of the pandemic era. Now there's a new person at the top of the totem pole. Bayley and Sasha do not directly need championships to continue their feud as of right now. They can, and they could, but it doesn't have to happen. There are avenues with that too. Now you set up 3 things. Asuka and Baszler. Sasha and Bayley are better off with even more dissension, which will follow into Payback because they have to defend the tag team championships with the potential to lose those belts too, which is only going to help with the dissension. And now Sonya Deville's at the top of the division where she belongs after she's proven that she can do that. And I told Gene in an earlier conversation, a perfect first opponent for her would be Carmella. She just dealt with one blonde. Now she's dealing with another one. It's light work for her. And the fact that there's a Money in the Bank parallel between the two, they both made Money in the Bank history. And then on top of that, me and Jay were guilty in the fact that we would love to see Sonya Deville and Corey Graves have some verbal jabs at each other. Both very witty, be very entertaining, continue Sonya Deville's character dynamic and develop her. You can make a big star, WWE. Please do it. Listen to Jason. Listen to us. Please do it.
The only thing that kind of has me on the fence about this is that if there were a scenario to where she does get that briefcase, we also have to remember this is a men's Money in the Bank briefcase. You know what I'm saying? So
I got an answer for that.
Okay.
Now remember, this is where Stephanie McMahon's bullshit comes in. Actually, works to our advantage.
Yep.
Sasha walked out with a championship that wasn't hers, and it was perfectly fine until Stephanie McMahon interjected herself. Now WWE, like Jason has said, Salamanca has said, makes up the rules as they go. But there's been a lot of inconsistencies in WWE storylines. Now, if a man relinquishes their briefcase to a woman and the woman accepts it, that briefcase is hers. That is her contract. She can do with it as she pleases. Now, that leaves up the whole, can she cash in on a dude thing? Possibly. But if she wants to be at the top of the women's division with the briefcase, she could.
And, to touch off of that point, WWE is suckers for capitalizing off of great momentum. Sonya Deville was rumored to be a star on a CW show. She was, rumored for numerous things outside of the WWE, as well as her push organically on Friday Night SmackDown. So when you see that happening, and then you see the whole narrative of her taking hold of a male briefcase, you want to talk about how the fact that Shayna Baszler dominated on Raw Underground, a place dominated by males. Becky Lynch has been she was terminalized as the man. Her moinker was the man for about 2 years. Now you have a character similar to a Shayna Baszler with an MMA background, just like with a little more seasoning on the main roster. You put that narrative out there. Although it's cheesy, although it's cheap, it does provide that notion that, hey, she could get this done. And I want to say this. I want to say this other anecdote, because I did mention it on the regular show. This allows for Sonya Deville to separate herself from Mandy Rose. The biggest thing that WWE struggles with is for when a tag team splits, both competitors, whether it's the one that you want to push and it's the one that you don't want to push, they go their separate ways, and then months later they're like, oh, we messed up. We need to find a way to bring them back together.
Bayley and Sasha, Owens and Zayn.
Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott this year. It happened this year. Yeah. So you have to if you really want to buy into a situation and put a stamp, the biggest way is to do it right now.
And the controversy of her cashing in a men's briefcase would get people talking, which would only add more interest to her character.
A person who is a part of the LGBTQ community reps it on her sleeve, reps it on her, like a flag. It writes itself.
There's so many upsides to pushing.
Writes itself.
So many upsides.
So
do it.
Before we get into
your piece.
We get into the next prediction, I'm going to, on the Universal title match, I'm going to make a very bold prediction here. Very, very bold. And I believe that's probably the next match we're getting into. So
we are getting into it. I'm
going to make a very bold prediction about this.
We have the
I'm making a debut prediction and an outcome.
A debut.
A debut.
I want to hear this. Is Kid Ty, real quick. Fiend, Braun Strowman. Boom.
I'm giving my spot to Eric. I want to hear this right now. I'll talk after.
Yeah. All right. So, to your point, like you said, the Salamander podcast, basically with the whole scenario of not Mandy Rose, of Sonya Deville getting a briefcase.
Yeah.
I just brought up the fact of the matter that this is a men's briefcase. To JJ's point, he just also brought up the fact that she is, outside the ring, a advocate for the, LGBTQA community. I don't know. They got too many letters. I support you guys, though. Yeah. So there is an avenue to push her. And when I originally wrote down this match, and also the tagline is "You'll never see it coming."
Yeah.
Here's my point with Braun Strowman and the Fiend. Braun Strowman has been an on-air character as he's the monster again. He is the monster Braun Strowman. He shaved his head. He's gone pretty much full-blown Britney Spears. He went crazy.
I mean, he was balding, so it was time.
He was balding, yes, but he just...
Kayfabe. Crazy.
He just shaved. Yeah. So then you have on the other side, you have the Fiend, who anytime that Bray Wyatt has turned into the Fiend, he's been unbeatable. The only person that's beat him is Goldberg, but whatever. So, but for the most part, he's been unbeatable. So this is going to be, again, just like the Keith Lee and Karrion Kross match, this is going to be a match where two bulls are just going to want to fight each other. It doesn't even matter about the championship. So this was my original prediction. My original prediction was they just beat the hell out of each other, and then Otis just happens to come down there in Otis fashion and cash in and just pin somebody and win the title and walks out. Right, shades of Rollins. But now that you bring that up, if he does relinquish the briefcase to Sonya Deville, couldn't we see Sonya Deville possibly doing that? And then not only that, you just mentioned the blonde. Who else is another blonde that's involved in this storyline? Alexa Bliss. So you have Alexa Bliss's involvement as well. And now Alexa Bliss's involvement is she going to join Wyatt? Is she going to cost Braun Strowman the championship? Are you going to align yourself with Bray Wyatt? Are you going to be a Sister Abigail-esque character? That's the next thing. Now, this is a Big Four pay-per-view. Who's been rumored to come to WWE who's also held a man's title? Tessa Blanchard. Could we possibly see Sonya Deville winning the Universal title, coming on SmackDown on Friday night, and then we see Tessa Blanchard debut? You continue the Wyatt and Braun Strowman feud because at the end of the day, these are two guys who are going to knock each other the hell out. They just want to fight each other at this point. They don't even care about the title. Bray cares about the title, yes, but Braun doesn't care about the title anymore. Braun just wants to fight Wyatt. He doesn't care about that anymore. He basically just said, I don't give a fuck about Alexa Bliss. I don't give a fuck about this Universal title. My main goal is to destroy you. That's what came out of his mouth. So now Alexa Bliss's involvement goes further into the Wyatt and Strowman feud. So that writes a story for itself. If they go the route of Otis cashing in, then okay, then they insert Otis in there, and I don't know where they go from there. But if they go the route that you said, with Sonya Deville getting the Money in the Bank briefcase and her becoming a women's champion, but having a man's title, this is where the Tessa Blanchard thing comes into play, and this is where that has to happen.
You also could have a situation where maybe Braun or Bray, whoever they align with, they might manipulate using Alexa Bliss to take the belt off of Sonya Deville too.
And this is the next thing too. But the thing is, I don't want them to get into where they're volleying the Universal title as a women's thing. They're volleying it around three women. If we do get a Tessa Blanchard debut, I would rather it be focused on that because Tessa Blanchard can carry that momentum from Impact over into WWE. I mean, let's talk the facts. She was the hottest thing on Impact going on before the whole controversy happened. So it can happen. You have now a top face in the women's division and a top heel in the women's division. Even though Bayley is still considered the top heel in the women's division, now you have an even hotter heel that can basically go head-to-head with Bayley. It's a great scenario that can happen.
I think it's a great scenario in the immediate, yeah, because Sonya Deville being crowned even above the women's championship would fit her narrative still, right? And then Tessa Blanchard coming in, capitalizing off of her being a world champion in another promotion. It will be very interesting. I wonder what the long term would be for that, because would they bring the title back to the dudes? Would they just have the women rock with it? I mean, it's not like they have much in terms of plans for the Universal Championship anyway.
If it goes that route, I would imagine them capitalizing and putting it on Tessa Blanchard. But if they go that route, it would be like a.
I see Charlotte eventually being inserted into this. That's why I'm scared of it.
It's Charlotte eventually. Charlotte already said she wanted to compete for a male dominant.
The Intercontinental title. Let's just put that out there. The Intercontinental Championship. If Charlotte wins the Universal Championship, I think the world will explode. But
all jokes aside, I really feel like her and AJ Styles would have a good match. That's just me. But
they would. Just Lord, I don't. She needs.
You know, that's my scenario with what you said and what I was thinking. So there's one of two routes I'm going with this. I just don't see Bray. I don't see Bray Wyatt winning the title. I don't see Braun Strowman winning the title because, like I said, they just want to kill each other.
So your prediction's the Money in the Bank briefcase will
either it's the Money in the Bank brief. It's going to come into play. It's either going to be Otis, or if it's not going to be Otis, if they go the creative route, it's going to be Sonya Deville, and they're going to have their first women's Universal Champion ever.
I'm bored by the creative direction of this episode. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Jason Salamonster again.
Yeah. Salamonster. It's the backstage brawl. Fucking thank you, my nigga. Oh. I'll book a T.
Right.
I'll book a T.
We're coming for you.
So WWE Championship, man.
Hold on.
This is where we actually need Mean Gene, because Mean Gene was there for that moment.
Damn.
You didn't even get everybody else's predictions. Like does everybody agree with me on the floor here?
That's about yo, man. Randy did the NBA Street Volume 2 takeover.
It's the most entertaining option. I know WWE's not going to do this, but I would love for them to do it.
I would love for them to do it as well. To be honest with you, I'll tell you this much.
That's great.
It will be the most it is sad to say, but implementing the women inside of the Universal
in the Thunderdome
will be the most intriguing thing that the
Universal and that's the next thing
ever
the pop
ever been a part.
The name of the title. It's the Uni.
Exactly. It basically it fits
Universal.
It does of course fit to the T. Just off of the sake of Randy pulling a Booker T alone, I want to shift gears. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. The main event, the creme de la creme. I don't even have to say any other adjectives for Randy Orton. And I'm pretty sure Drew McIntyre, our personal superstar of the year, aka King of the Ring.
He is the king.
Going 1v1. Guys, what say you?
I'm gonna give it a shot, I guess.
Go ahead, man.
I'm gonna say there's gonna be a power slam in this match. That's the only thing I can give y'all. I think that, I've been wanting. The last time I remember these two being in the ring was like back in like 2011, when like Drew was just like about to get in the 3MB. He was still in the trunks. He was killing it on Superstars, but we haven't seen this matchup in a credible sense pretty much ever in WWE. And like I've mentioned in previous episodes, and we've all kind of known for a while, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are the two individuals that have been touted over the course of their careers as having some of the most potential for a heavyweight and being the type of wrestlers that you would build from the ground up if you wanted to mold a champion. So this is a dream match in this sense, with them both being on a very credible footing and them being the two most consistent stars on Monday Night Raw. So I think that the match, if they are given the proper amount of time, I think it will be an instant classic. I really do. If it's the match that I think they can have, we know they can do it. 20 to 30 minutes, whatever range of time that is, I think they will have a great match. Especially if this is the only one they have. Now that's the kicker. Is this one of many as well? Because they need stories going into Survivor Series. They need stories going into the fall, right? So I'm curious to see it, because Randy Orton doesn't have anything directly right now. You mentioned it before, he's waiting on Edge, right? And Edge isn't predicted to come back until maybe the Royal Rumble time, unless he Supermans it again like he did 10 years ago. So my suggestion is, I think that since Orton has been on such a high and he's been virtually unstoppable, I think it would be a very interesting choice for Drew to win clean. For Drew to solidify his title reign with a clean victory over Orton that Orton wasn't expecting, and that tips Orton over the edge and makes him even more sadistic, kind of taking a page out of his feud with Christian, where the loss makes him morph into something even more dangerous because he was so assured that his momentum would last, and it didn't. Because everyone expects Drew, everyone's touting Drew as the underdog in this match,
if Drew were to beat Randy Orton flat out to the point where Orton's in disbelief, I think you might see even more character development, which is saying something, where Orton gets more sadistic and we start seeing shades of Randy Orton from 2009 when he had the veins popping out of his head, he was bald, and he was murdering Vince and Stephanie and Shane. Seriously, how did he not? He got arrested.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, listen, the reason why he didn't get arrested so much so is because he had more baby oil than his body had pounds. So, but that's a story for him.
I mean, he got thrown through his own house by Triple H, so I guess that's compensation.
Exactly. That's true. That and main eventing after Shawn Michaels and Taker, that was punishment enough. DC Diamond Cutter Eric B, what do you say about this match right here?
I agree with Tyler. This is going to be one of those matches that are classic. First off, I just want to put something out there that I don't think a lot of people really notice. But this is Randy Orton's second title match in 2 years now. Didn't he have a title match last year at SummerSlam with Kofi? And they got a bad reception off of that because it never got a definitive finish. I think they put him back in this not only because he's been a hot commodity lately. I mean, we all can attest to that. But also for a little redemption. I mean, that match was not one of the best matches. I mean, it was good in the ring, don't get me wrong, but the outcome killed everything. So I think this is kind of a redemption match for him. As far as Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton go, I think I agree with Tyler. I think Drew takes the win clean. Drew has faced opponents, but he hasn't faced a legend. And Randy Orton is a walking legend. He is a walking, living legend.
Don't kill that legend. Don't kill the legend killer that's a legend now.
Yeah, right. Don't tell himself that. He's like, word?
Yeah, Orton Randy Orton himself into the pool.
Randy Orton at the hospital for a failed. No, I ain't gonna go there.
Failed attempt on funding himself. But seriously, Drew McIntyre, he is coming into this the underdog. Again, I'm gonna make another bold prediction here.
Yeah.
The one group that it seems that WWE as a whole is pushing a lot is Retribution. Retribution has to get involved in this some sort of way. After the match, though. Not during the match. After the match, in my opinion.
Oops.
After the match, because you got to give Drew something outside of Randy Orton after this.
I swear if it's Tommaso, man. I swear if it's Tommaso under one of those.
And if it is, I wouldn't be mad at it if you're gonna put him at the top of the WWE title picture. I'm not mad at it. But the thing is that Retribution has to get involved because people are getting curious as to who is part of Retribution. Drew McIntyre is the locker room leader. He is the top guy of all of WWE. So, because he holds the WWE title.
And Tommaso Ciampa, what was he known as in NXT?
The main roster
leader.
Right. So this is my point. If they have a good match, a great match, and Drew wins, who does Drew go after? If you leave out the Retribution thing, who does Drew go after? Who's the next person that comes to mind in your head to say that'll be somebody for Drew McIntyre?
Assuming that he doesn't continue with Orton, there's I don't know.
You
if
could say
Cena.
Cena. I mean, he's not. No, I don't see that.
There's still the potential for a champion match, assuming Apollo Crews retains on a Monday Night Raw.
There's also the potential for Rollins kind of scope them out. So I'm not saying that they're going to go directly into it, but it's essentially it's all but I'll see you on the other side.
But it is limited options. I do see your point. It is very limited options. So if someone were to debut with Retribution, well, I still think there's a chance Ali might be the guy behind it, and they connect the hacker thing and the Retribution. I mean, that's wishful thinking at this point, but you never know. But
you could further the feud. Don't get me wrong.
And Randy Orton, you could always further that. But the thing is that you need to have if you're gonna push Retribution as hard as you're pushing them right now, as far as having them show up on every main roster show, they need to have a more deeper involvement in WWE relations, other than just attacking, people in the back and going to the production truck. I mean, we've seen DX go to the production truck. That's nothing. And they're not even a serious group.
You're right. You know who he should feud with? I do agree with you, but here's the kicker. I saw a chainsaw, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Terry Funk. I think it's Terry Funk under one of those masks. If you don't get that reference, then I'm so disappointed.
But that's my thing. I feel like Drew, it's the after the match for me that I need to see.
Yeah.
During the match, I feel like Drew needs this win to solidify his title run against a living legend, which is Randy Orton. I would love to. I mean, a lot of people want to see him and John Cena. I get it, but I don't feel like John.
Not yet. I mean,
has the time.
Even still, yeah.
There's also the possibility of Brock too looming if they bring Brock back, which might actually get a real match.
Again, Retribution has to get involved.
Lesnar will eat Retribution.
Yeah, but that's the point. You have Lesnar. If you have Retribution get involved in another title match, and then Drew is just fed up and he kicks one of them in the head, and then one of them gets revealed. You know what I mean? Like it's little things like that. So that's why I said.
Yeah, there's definitely some potential for that. Closer of the prediction show goes to the People's Champ. People's Champ. We got a Drew.
Eric basically said everything, in a nutshell. Ty basically had some great endpoints as well. I hate the fact that Randy Orton's always had the fact of redemption because of a match that happened preceding this one. And it's always happened to him over the last couple of years. Coming back from the Kofi situation, he is going to have a great match against Drew. Drew does need to win clean over Randy. As much it would be great because of the Edge story to win the title at SummerSlam and hold it until Edge comes back. That avenue could also be explored. Drew does not only need the win, but he is going to win in order to solidify the title reign. And I think Big E, you kind of reiterated, he hasn't beaten a legend per se, in his title feud. I mean, even though it's the same night as WrestleMania, Big Show is a legend in this game, so you got to put some respect on one of the Giants' names. So Big Show
they need to treat him like a legend. How about that?
Right. There you go.
We know.
There you go.
We know. But when this man is turning more than goddamn, I don't even have an analogy. I'm too tired. But I'm gonna just say it like that's just how it is.
Big Show is a legend in this game, so he did beat him in his first title defense.
Regardless, he does need a credible legend. There's legends, and then there's credible.
And Orton has
legends.
way too much momentum right now.
You want every time for a decade?
Whoa! So you trying to sit in there and tell me Big Show's credible? I'll bring Mark Henry next night on Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam. He faces.
He may not be the legend, like the higher tier of a legend, but he's a credible legend in the game. Yeah,
Big Show is a credible legend, but Orton has the legendary status and the momentum.
No. This is not disrespecting Big Show in any way. I'm not talking about credibility in terms of resume. I'm not talking about credibility in terms of how you were beforehand. I'm talking about credibility right now.
Okay.
I can argue X amount of people are legends, all right? We don't have to preface it by saying they're fantastic. They're all fantastic wrestlers, right? But when I'm looking at a Big Show and I'm seeing Drew McIntyre, I'm changing the goddamn channel. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair. I was just making.
So that's the situation here, okay? You have Randy Orton. Here's a legend who you're actually invested in because there's a program. Because, again, if Randy Orton would have been in the same position had he not had this character arc all 2020. But since he's had it, now we're paying attention to it. But if it was Randy Orton from, let's say, SummerSlam 2019, as Eric pointed out.
Or the gender era.
Oh.
You see how you went home? That's been Big Show the past 10 years.
Do you want to refer back to credibility and all this stuff? There's there's respect that is, we want to give our wrestlers respect. But we ain't got to Paula Abdul their shit. Oh, you're great. No.
All right.
If I'm not enjoying the match and I see, Big Show night after WrestleMania,
Big Show only wants to work house shows.
bro, I'm going to the kitchen, doing my business, getting some glass of water, go taking a shower.
But to continue with it,
Yeah.
like Eric said, like if Randy does go into another level, like I don't mind seeing him like basically go back to that shaved head,
I don't do that.
but
Don't
with
do
a twist,
that.
grow
Don't
back,
do that.
grow back the beard.
His
I
wife
didn't
would
mean
not
like-
let that happen.
I didn't mean like that. I meant like if he were to lose, clean the Drew, and be like, I thought I had it in the bag because of all my momentum. And he's the Christian to the Randy Orton that's Drew now, where essentially he can't believe that he lost when he had all the momentum on his side,
Yeah.
which pushes Orton to the deep end to get more sadistic and continue the program with Drew and continue to challenge Drew. That's what I meant. I didn't mean turn him bald. His wife wouldn't like that. I don't think she'd like the bald look.
Or basically just pull the Neville in terms of like when he lost the cruiserweight title, just become like so like disheveled, so like vicious and angry to the point it's like, yo, like I haven't basically I'm unkempt. Like I'm selling how I feel.
To that point, why did nobody do a side-by-side of Neville and Seth Rollins when Seth looked like that earlier?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah.
I guess it's because one looked like Vegeta and one looked like he actually got a girl pregnant. In any event, SummerSlam 2020, the prediction show, of course. You got the Golden Child, you have the People's Champ, you have Kid Dynamite, you have the Diamond Cutter. It is 7:22 p.m. There's about to be SmackDown going on. I'm tired, but also hungry. I think the rest of us are. It's Friday. Have a beautiful day. Peace.